Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. Glad you could be with us today. All right, 40 seconds.
Testing, testing.
All right, 5 seconds. Okay, here we go. Hey, folks, Dr. Joe here. Just making sure we got all our platforms running, got everything else running, all the other platforms, everything going? Good. Welcome. Glad you could be here. As I said, I'm Dr. Joe. If it's your first time joining us, welcome. The way this works is I do two 24-minute segments. I will talk for 24 minutes. You, whatever platform you're on, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, I think we're on all the platforms right now, you can go ahead and type in any health questions you might have. If you have any health questions, at the end of 24 minutes, John, my producer, will read me the questions. I'll answer them. Then we do another 24-minute segment, and I answer questions again at the end. So you have two chances to answer any health questions. Try to get them in as quickly as possible, because once we're done, and we'll move on from there. So that's how it works. And so I'm glad you're here. John's going to give me my timer, and I am going to start the show. So ready? Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. Glad you're with us today. What we're going to talk about today are some of my steps for optimum health. Now, when I put together the show notes, it's called show notes when you put these things together, I said I'm going to talk about 7 steps for optimum health. Well, I couldn't stop at 7. Now, I don't know if we're going to have time to even cover 7, but we're going to do as many as we can. So one of the questions I get a lot is people ask me about juicing. Because juicing was a big craze for a while. Juicing was great for you, it was healthy for you. And the answer is yes, juicing is good sometimes. It's a good idea to juice vegetables. And the reason is vegetables have a cell wall. Everything's made up of cells. And the cell wall in vegetables is made of something called cellulose. Now, cellulose needs to be broken down to release the nutrients that are in the cell. And there's an enzyme that certain animals have, a lot of animals have, called cellulase. And cellulase, anything that ends in ASE is an enzyme. It breaks down cellulose. Follow that? We as humans don't produce cellulase. So we can't break down the enzyme, the cell walls to release the nutrients inside the cell with enzymes, but there are 2 ways we can do it. Number one is we can physically break the cell wall. So something like juicing would be great. It physically breaks open the cell wall, releases the nutrients, and you get to use them. The other way would be heating it. Now, if you heat it, the water in the cell expands, and it bursts open the cell. Now, the good news is that when you physically break open the cell like juicing, you get the nutrients and the heat doesn't destroy some of the enzymes that are found in the juice. However, sometimes when you cook it, it actually activates certain nutrients too. So there's pros and cons. Generally speaking, raw is better than cooked. I'd probably say 95% of the time raw is better than cooked. So we have to be able to break open those cell walls. When you juice something, it's relatively quick to what's called oxidize. Oxidize means to break down. And so when you juice, you don't want to juice and leave it sitting in a refrigerator for a couple of days. It loses a lot of its nutritional value. Fruit is not a good thing to juice because fruit is high in sugar, like fructose. And if I'm eating an apple, the apple has fiber and phytonutrients, and it slowly pushes the food through my colon, and I get a slow release of energy and a slow release of sugar, and that's a good thing. If I juice it, it's like drinking sugar water. All that sugar gets absorbed at once. Not good for me. So juicing is really good, but depends on what you're juicing. Now, your body can process, in a perfect world, about 25 grams of sugar a day. That's about 3 or 4 pieces of fruit. Anything beyond that can cause the liver to have to convert the sugar, that's called fructose, convert the sugar from fructose into glucose. Glucose is the type of fuel your body uses. When we convert fructose into glucose, we produce something called uric acid. Now, just the other day on one of my shows that I was doing, somebody called in. He says, Dr. Joe, I have gout. and I don't eat seafood, I don't eat meat, and I don't know why my gout isn't getting any better. So I told him, I said, those are bad because they have something called purine in it, which is an amino acid that can aggravate gout. But in the conversion of fructose into glucose, we create uric acid. So many times people with joint pain, headaches, neck pain, they're eating a lot of sugar, a lot of fructose, converting into glucose, creating uric acid. Uric acid gets in your joints, and it hurts. It's an acid. And so that's why their pain isn't going away. And he said, wow, I never thought about that before. So if you're doing sugar, plain old table sugar is 50% fructose, 50% glucose. So the glucose in the table sugar can be utilized as fuel. The fructose has to be converted into glucose. Following all that? A lot of F's and C's in there. Fructose has to be converted into glucose. High fructose corn syrup is 55% fructose, 45% glucose. Not much more fructose content, but that little bit, that 5%, makes it so much more dangerous than plain old table sugar. Table sugar is horrible. High fructose corn syrup, substantially horrible. I don't know, more than horrible. And that's a problem. So if you're eating sodas, if you're eating candies, if you're eating anything that's sweetened, ketchup is 40% sugar. You're getting the sugar in the body, creating the uric acid, getting in your joints, and it hurts. So the number one reason we see patients, I've been in practice coming up on 40 years now, the number one reason we see patients in my offices is because of pain. Neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain. And we're really good at getting people out of pain in most cases. But we also do a nutritional consultation because every day patients come in and they say, well, Dr. Joe, I've been coming to see you guys for a while. I'm a little better, still having some problems. And I asked them, I said, remember we did a nutrition workup on your second visit? And they said, yeah. I said, you follow my advice? They said, no. Okay, let's try this. Let's try following my advice for 60 days. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Go back to the way you used to eat. But if I'm right, which of course I am, then you'll start to see the improvement you want. And I've never seen it not happen. That's a double negative, I think. I've never seen it not happen. When people follow my advice, they go, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. Thank you. So I really want you to cut back the sugar. Cut out the sugar if you can. The body, again, can only process about 25 grams of sugar a day. That's not a whole lot. If you have one soda, that's probably more sugar than you're supposed to have in an entire day anyway. And people drink sweetened drinks all the time. Soda, sweetened tea, sweetened beverages, fruit juices, not a good idea. So uric acid gets into the body. It can aggravate gout, but it can get into all your joints. Even if you're not officially diagnosed with gout, it's going to get in all your joints, and that's going to cause an increase in pain. Uric acid prevents the body from producing something called nitric oxide. What the heck is nitric oxide? Nitric oxide is a gas that's produced in your blood vessels, and it opens up your blood vessels, relaxes the blood vessels, increases circulation, lowers blood pressure. So important. Now, when you're young, you produce a lot of nitric oxide, and that's why young people usually don't have high blood pressure. One of the reasons. As we get older, our nitric oxide levels drop, and then we do other stupid things. We dehydrate ourselves, we put chemicals in our body, we increase our salt intake, and now we increase the risk of high blood pressure. So uric acid prevents the body from producing properly nitric oxide, and you're getting older, so you're producing less nitric oxide, and many times that skyrockets your blood pressure. And I did a show many years ago, and I said the only thing worse than salt for high blood pressure is sugar. And people were shocked. And so you got to cut out your sugar, folks. And that's breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas, added sugar, sweetened tea, sodas, candies, juices. You got to cut back your sugar. And I did a show just recently, and we were talking about brain function. And sugar just causes inflammation, just totally messes up your brain. And it was on depression and anxiety. And I was ready to scream and jump through the microphone, because so many people suffer from emotional disorders, anxiety, depression, bipolar, ADD, ADHD, and nobody, hardly anybody I should say, is talking about treating it with diet. And yet so many studies are out for teenagers, for adults, for young children, that diet has a direct impact on the treatment of depression and anxiety. So that should be your primary source of treatment. when you have emotional disorders, anxiety, depression, bipolar, ADD, ADHD, even loneliness. Loneliness is a big problem across the world, not just in our country. And when you're sitting there having comfort foods like ice cream, chips, cookies, cakes, those comfort foods are actually making the problem substantially worse. And so you got to cut out those sugars, folks. And I know it's hard, but my secret is this. I'm not going to leave you hanging. My secret is get the bad food out of the house. If bad food is in the house, chances are very high that you're going to eat it. If bad food is not in the house, you're probably too lazy to go out and get it if you're like me, and you're going to say, you know what, I'm just going to eat what I have. So if you go to my house right now, I have on my counter in my kitchen, I have several different types of pears, persimmons, grapefruit, tangerines. So I have several different types of fruit. So if I'm going to eat something, I'm going to eat that as opposed to eating something that's junky because I don't have junk food in the house. But the sugar is so bad, and that's why we went off a tangent on juicing. If you're juicing just fruits, not a good idea. Vegetables, absolutely fine to juice. Fruit, not a good idea to juice. Now, I created something called Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. And one of the reasons I did that was because juicing was so popular for a while. I have a juicer. I fell into the craze. And it's expensive. It's dirty. You have to buy the stuff. You have to use it before it goes bad. It's a lot of work that goes into making juice. So, of course, my thought was, what if there was something simple that you could juice? And so I created Dr. Joe's Essential Source. Dr. Joe's Essential Source is fruits and vegetables. We juice it. We take the water out at a very low temperature so the enzymes aren't affected. And then we have a powder. But when we take the water out, we also take the sugar out. So with Essential Source, we have fruits and vegetables in a powder form at a very low temperature, so the nutrients are there. Then we add prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, complete multivitamin. I wanted to make juice better. And that's what I did with Essential Source. And it's the minimum supplements you should take every day, Super Greens and Essential Source together. I can't imagine why the whole world just doesn't do that, because that's what the body needs. So I took all the benefits of the fruits and the vegetables, put it into a powder form, made it a gazillion times better, and that's why everybody, I think, should be taking Essential Source. And then Super Greens is chlorella and spirulina, wheatgrass, barley grass, alfalfa grass. But chlorella especially helps detoxify the liver. And all of us, and I eat a really good diet, all of us need to detoxify our liver every day. Well, Dr. Joe, I did a liver detox 12 years ago. Well, that's great, but what'd you do between now and 12 years ago? So if you do Super Greens and Essential Source every day, you're helping detoxify the liver along with giving your body the nutrients, along with the fruits and the vegetables, and you don't have to pay for a juicer, and you don't have to buy the fruits and vegetables and throw away the pulp and make the mess and then have to clean it. It just becomes a mess. So eating the whole fruit is good because it has the fiber and the nutrients. When you're eating vegetables, whether it's raw or juiced, they're very high in something called magnesium, green leafy vegetables. Magnesium does over 300 different jobs in your body. But one of the things it does, it helps relax your blood vessels. So again, nitric oxide helps relax the blood vessels. Magnesium helps relax the blood vessels. That increases circulation to things like your sex organs, your brain, your heart, your lungs, your kidneys, your spleen. And it just takes the stress off the blood coursing through these organs. And as we get older, the whole thing is to get into less stress, not more stress. And you're creating chemical stress, which is causing physical stress, which is now speeding up the aging process and increasing your risk of disease. Not saying it's going to cause the disease, but it's certainly increasing the risk of it. So green leafy vegetables like we have in the powder in Dr. Joe's Essential Source, or eating a salad. At one meal a day, by the way, should be a salad because it's going to give you the fiber, it's going to give you the nutrients, the magnesium, the phytonutrients. So at least one meal a day should be a salad. Now, it doesn't have to be a traditional salad. It could be a tomato salad. It could be an avocado salad. It could be an avocado mango tomato salad. Those are all fruits, by the way. And have a fruit salad. I know you picture fruit salad like cantaloupe and grapes, but avocados, mangoes, tomatoes, those are all fruits. Makes a great salad. In my book, the first book I ever wrote was called Eating Right for the Health of It. And I have the amazing recipe in there. It's an avocado, mango, tomato, basil salad. And I've won awards for that recipe. It is so good. In fact, there was a restaurant in Atlanta called R. Thomas Grill. It's still there. And they actually put it on their menu, and they couldn't keep it in stock. They sold out so fast, and finally the owner, he's passed away now, his name is Richard, his restaurant's still there, Richard's gone. And he said, I had to take it off the menu. He says, I couldn't keep it in stock. He says, we went through so many of tomatoes, avocados, and mangoes that he says, I just couldn't keep them. I just didn't have room to stack them all. I had to take it off the menu. It was his number one selling product at the time. And so it's so easy to eat right. I had a patient I just did a nutrition consultation with, and she's been a patient here for a long time, but she needed an update. And she said, I've heard you talk for 20 years now, and you're always saying about fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds and stay away from the bad stuff. And I said to her, so your cholesterol's high now, your hormones are all out of whack, you're overweight, you have digestive issues. I said, why don't you try doing what you heard me say for the past couple of years, 20 years, and let's see if I'm right. And she said, well, I don't like giving up my dairy. I like my cottage cheese. I like my regular cheese. I can do it out the milk. I like my Greek yogurt. And I said, okay, well, it's your call what you want to do. And she said, all right, Dr. Joe, you have my commitment, 60 days. I'll do what you say. I said, okay, good. Now, I can never guarantee anything, but I can almost guarantee that she's going to be thrilled with the results. Because people can't imagine their life without cottage cheese or hamburgers. And when they do it, they go, that's it? That's all I have to do? That's all you have to do. It's that easy. It's that easy. Wow. I wish I'd done that sooner. I hear it all the time. I wish I'd done that sooner. So again, whole fruits are fine. If you want to puree a fruit, like something in a Vitamix, grind it up. When I take my Super Greens and Essential Source every morning, many times I'll put in a frozen banana. And it makes it creamy, like a milkshake type thing. And I just use coconut milk or almond milk, and I put in my Super Greens Essential Source, my vitamin D. I always add my vitamin D to that. And I whip it up into a blender. I've got a little magic bullet. I don't even know where it came from. Somebody must have given it to me as a gift. And I grind it up, and I drink that every morning. I want you to do that too. Now, you can do it with frozen banana. Frozen berries are great. Blueberries, blackberries, strawberries. I like the banana. It makes it creamier. Or you just take it, shake it up with water if you wanted to, Super Greens and Essential Source of powders, and take it every day. Let's start getting those fruits and vegetable nutrients in there, the phytonutrients, the magnesium, the vitamin C, the calcium. Let's get these nutrients into your body in the purest form there is, fruits and vegetables, and watch what happens. I've told tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of people about supplements over the years, and inevitably they come back and say, I wish I'd done this sooner. So those are on my website, by the way, drjoe.com. But we're talking about compliance, about patients not doing what I tell them to do. Most do. About 98% of patients listen, but this one patient decided she knew better than me. Actually, she didn't know that. She decided she couldn't give up her cottage cheese. And when people finally do, they're just fascinated. And there's three things I want you to follow. I want you to have a normally functioning nervous system, a normally functioning digestive system, and good nutrition. Those three things are the core that you need to have in order for the body to get well. So how do you know you have a malfunctioning nervous system? I had a patient this week. She was in a car accident. She came to see me 7 years ago, and she came back again, and she said, I was in a car accident. In the first 3 weeks, I didn't have any pain. I was a little stiff, but I thought it was nothing to worry about. Well, the pain's gotten a lot worse. So I said, the problem was there even though you didn't have pain. It took a while for the pain to show up. If you have pain, you definitely have a problem. So if you have pain, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, sciatica, numbness, tingling, muscle weakness, come see us. In the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. I want to be your doctor. My team of doctors want to be your doctors. We want to get you well and keep you well, hopefully without drugs and surgery. So go to my website, drjoe.com. You can book an appointment right now. Stop suffering needlessly. Remember, if you have pain, something is wrong. And we can't plug you into a computer and do an analysis and see what it is like your car, but we can do that at our office. We can do an analysis and try to get to the cause of your problem. So drjoe.com. Normally the first visit is $940. For my listeners, I've reduced that to $299. Exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, the follow-up visit going over the x-rays, and a complete nutrition evaluation. X-rays alone are going to cost you more than that anywhere else. We want to make it affordable, and we want to make it so that you can get well and stay well. But when you come in, be ready to make the commitment. Be ready to make the commitment to get well and stay well. We'll do a nutrition evaluation. Whether you listen to us or not is totally up to you. So the chiropractic portion is separate from nutrition division, but we put them together so that we can get you well and keep you well. And if you're serious, do it right now, drjoe.com. And by the way, if you're ever in a car accident, folks, come see us immediately. Because this young lady, no pain for 3 weeks, now the pain flared up, and I'm afraid what's going to happen is the insurance company is going to say, you weren't hurt because you didn't go to the doctor. That's one of their stupid little scam things they do. You weren't hurt because you didn't go to the doctor, so we're not going to cover your claim. So come see us immediately, drjoe.com. So we talked about super greens and essential source. They're just remarkable. Easy to digest protein, fruits and vegetables in there. There's so many benefits to eating the foods. Now, even if you're not willing to change your diet, you're not willing to give up the alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, artificial sweetener, or at least cut back on it, at least, please, take super greens and essential source. It's a very easy, tasty, fun way to get a lot of nutrients in your body. And after a couple of days, you'll be like everybody else. Wow, I had no idea I could feel this good. So drjoe.com. You can order it right online or come by and pick it up. That'll save you some shipping cost. So now I want to talk about fats, because fats got a bad rap. Everybody thinks fats are bad. Fats are good, the right kind. So fats are so important for your brain. They calm the nervous system. They help balance your blood sugar. There's different sources of good fats and bad fats. Now, it's vital you understand the difference between good fats and bad fats. So one study, it was by somebody named Amanda Chan. It was good and bad fats affect your brain health too, was the name of the study. The bad fats were saturated fats and commercially made something called trans fats. Trans fats, or hydrogenated oils, are we take an oil and we pump hydrogen into the oil, and the hydrogen attaches to it, and it hydrogenates the oil, and it makes the oil have a longer shelf life. It doesn't go rancid as quickly. However, in the process, you create something that I consider a poison. The hydrogenated oils are so bad for your body. I did a show a couple of weeks ago on nothing but oils, and we talked about the main cause, number one cause of diabetes. What do you think it is? Not sugar. Bad fats, omega-6 fatty acids, trans fats. Because what happens is the walls of your cell are made up of lipoproteins, fats and proteins. And if you have bad fats, trans fats, what happens is the body can't bring nutrients into the cell and flush out the waste products. And so now we have problems. It also affects your insulin function, because there's a key in the cell. If you can imagine, there's a keyhole in the cell, and insulin is the key, and it opens up the cell and lets sugar in. Well, what happens is those trans fats, those bad fats, those omega-6 fatty acids can clog up the keyhole. So the insulin can't get into the keyhole to open it up to let sugar into the cell. So now the cells are being starved of enough sugar that they need, energy, and the sugar's floating around in the blood. So one approach we can do is give you insulin to try to force that key, force the cell to open up and let sugar in, or we can just clean out the keyhole. And in many cases, not all, but many cases, when we clean out the keyhole, we cut out those omega-6 fatty acids, those trans fats, the body starts to normalize its blood sugar. Everybody's talking about sugar being bad. Sugar is bad. Trans fats are worse. Omega-6 fatty acids are worse. So if you see something on the food that you're eating, if it says partially hydrogenated oil or hydrogenated oil, don't eat it ever. Omega-6 fatty acids are found in vegetable oils, seed oils, cottonseed oil, canola oil, soybean oil. Don't eat the vegetable oils. They're bad for you. And if I can get you to cut out the vegetable oils, in many cases, your blood sugar stabilizes, your energy level comes back, because your cells are utilizing the sugar more efficiently, and you go, that's all I had to do? And the answer is usually yes, that's all you had to do. That means a lot of things you should do, but cut out those bad fats. So please, anything, vegetable oil, soybean oil, corn oil, canola oil, cottonseed oil, please don't ever eat them. Pick up something, read the ingredients. It says canola oil, cottonseed oil, soybean oil. Don't eat it. Put it back down. It's not good for you. Now, I don't eat animals. I'm plant-based. I've been plant-based for, 36, some odd years, 38 years. And sometimes there's vegan food, and it looks really good. And I'm going to say, I want to try this vegan food. It looks great. And I look at it, cottonseed oil, rapini, whatever it is, rapeseed oil. Nope, not going to do it. It's not worth risking your health. And this is what this show is all about, giving you information that you can use every single day. So if you have any questions, I got to go to break. I'll be right back. If you have any questions, go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. A little bot pops up. You can send me your questions. To make an appointment, just go to drjoe.com. You can book it right online. It's first thing on the homepage, and we can book you an appointment right away. We can get you in this week. All our offices have new patient appointments every week. And the supplements we talked about, we're going to talk about some more enzymes, vitamin D, things like that. Those are all on the website as well, drjoe.com. Follow me on social media. We post every single day. We post health tips absolutely free at Dr. Joe Esposito, at Dr. Joe Esposito. And your podcast service, Dr. Joe for the health of it. Dr. Joe for the health of it. Folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. All right. Bam. I got so much to cover in so little time. Questions?
Are mashed potatoes healthy?
You can make them healthy. And the way you make a mashed potato better, number one, it's got to be organic. And boil them up, mash them up, and then put them in the refrigerator overnight. Next day, heat them up or eat them cold. You created something called a resistant starch. A resistant starch, you're going to absorb 40% less sugar than a non-resistant starch, like a regular potato just cooked. So whenever you eat a starch, whether it's a pasta, which you shouldn't be eating, but potatoes, rice, grains, quinoa, sorghum, cook them, put them in the refrigerator overnight. You're going to have it's better. It's not great. It's better. So that's a better choice. And I don't want to use a whipper to whip the potatoes because it breaks up the fiber. Just use a potato masher. So, all right, what else?
Could I mix in Dr. Joe's Essential Source and Super Greens with oatmeal?
Absolutely. However you get there. Oleta Adams, way back a long time ago, had a song that said, I don't care how you get here, just get here if you can. If you want to mix it with oatmeal, absolutely. You want to mix it with water, great. You want to, I don't know, however you can get it in your body, yogurt, yes. Oh, plant-based yogurt, of course. What else?
Are carrots healthier when cooked?
Some of the stuff is better, some of the stuff is worse, okay? So if you cook your carrots and eat them, I'm perfectly fine with that. It's a bazillion times better, and I made that number up, than having a hamburger. So the answer is, yeah, carrots are fine either way. Just get them in your body.
What is the difference between salt and sodium?
So salt by definition is anything that disassociates in water. So dissolves in water. So sugar, and I was on Eric von Hessler's show a while ago, and we had this funny argument. Sugar is a salt. How can sugar be a salt? Sugar is a sugar. Anything that dissolves in water, a simple way to put it, is going to be a salt. So salt is made up of sodium chloride. If you think about white table salt, sodium is one of the ingredients of table salt, sodium chloride. If you're doing air-dried sea salt, which is a way better choice, you should never use white salt ever. Air-dried sea salt has over 70 different nutrients in it. But anything that dissolves in water is going to be a salt. That's just a general term. And if you think about table salt, again, sodium chloride is two components that make up that salt. So, what else?
What diet should we follow?
The one I tell you to diet. The one I tell you to follow. If you don't know what to eat, you want to go to a plant-based diet. Plant-based, I mean, folks, I've researched every diet known to man, and the keto, and the high-fat, and the low-fat, and the intermittent fasting, which is great, by the way. But every study I come across, it all goes back to the same place. Eat more fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. Stay away from alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. If you don't know what to eat, not a diet, a lifestyle, go to drjoe.com and type in the search bar, so what can I eat? So what can I eat? That's going to lay it out for you. Very simple. It's not hard to do. It's very easy and very inexpensive. Way cheaper than what you're doing right now. My nose itches. What else?
Can a man with diabetes father children?
Of course. Yeah. I mean, if there's erectile dysfunction, that could be an issue. We have a great treatment for erectile dysfunction. We have a whole protocol we do. And it's checking the nerve supply to sex organs. This is for women too. We use something called acoustic wave therapy that sends sound waves, impulses into the area to help break up scar tissue. Sometimes that happens, and cause the body to grow new blood vessels. Nitric oxide to open up the blood vessels. Cold laser doesn't hurt, don't worry. And that also helps increase blood supply. And then we have several other supplements we do. But the erectile dysfunction protocol we have is just amazing. A home device that you can use to pump blood into the area. So it's really amazing, and without drugs and surgery, pretty good. So the answer is yes. Absolutely. If you can function, you can father children. Absolutely.
What is the name of your recipe book?
Eating Right for the Health of It. Do I have a copy of it? Ah, here it is. Hold on. Happy to have a copy of it right there. Dun, 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 dun. So on the website, drjoe.com.
Is flaxseed oil healthy?
Flaxseed is way better than flaxseed oil. Whenever you have an oil, it starts to oxidize and break down. So with flax seeds, get whole flax seeds, organic, and just grind them up right before you use them. And drink a lot of water with it, or else it can swell up and cause constipation. If you drink a lot of water, it actually helps with constipation. So I'd rather see you use the whole flaxseed than the flaxseed oil. It's a better choice. And if you're going to do flaxseed oil, make sure it's organic and make sure it's fresh. So, what else?
No more questions, but a listener has said that the super greens and essential source have helped him with his muscle pain.
Excellent. Yeah. Super greens and essential source. If you're not doing it, folks, I don't know why you're not. These are amazing. I use them every day. I so look forward to when I wake up in the morning as I'm coming out of my sleep, my cortisol levels are starting to raise. I'm starting to come out of my slumber. I can't wait to get out of bed and have this. And once you start getting into a routine, it's just amazing. And again, helps with muscle pain. I have many patients. I remember the first one told me years ago, Dr. Joe, I can't afford not to take super greens and essential source. And I didn't understand the statement. What do you mean you can't afford not to? They said, I eat less, I feel better, I work harder, my life is so much better, I'm making more money now because I'm able to function more efficiently than before I started taking it, so I can't afford not to take it. Don't ever stop making it. I love when people say that. So, all right. What else?
That's all.
Cool. All right, let's do round 2. If you're just tuning in, I'm going to talk for another 24 minutes. During that time, type in any health questions you have, and after that, I'll answer those questions as well. Ready? Hey, folks, Dr. Joe here. Thanks for being with me today. What we're talking about today, and it was kind of funny when I started thinking about this, the 7 tips for optimum health is what I called the show. Well, I came up with way more than 7, as I usually do. But I don't know if I'm even going to get to 7. So let's call them optimum tips for health. So we were talking earlier about fats and good fats and bad fats. And I'm not a fan of animal-based saturated fats. And I'm not a fan of something called hydrogenated oil or omega-6 fatty acids, linoleic acids. And I want you to stay away from those fats because they're not good for you. And they don't make the body function the way they're supposed to. What you do want to do is have good fats. In fact, there was a study, where was it? Here we go. Folks who ate hydrogenated oil had lower scores in cognitive functions. Folks that ate good fats scored higher. So when we test you, your brain works more efficiently when you're putting good fats in the body. So what would be a good fat? Well, avocados would be good. I have, when I buy avocados, you buy them in a bag, I'll have an avocado a day. Don't have to eat a lot, but maybe one small avocado a day. Good fats would be coconut oil, extra virgin organic coconut oil. Now, you're not going to scoff it down like candy, but if you have a little coconut oil, it's actually good for you because it's made of something called lauric acid, and lauric acid can help kill pathogens like bacteria, viruses, and fungus. Now, eating good fats makes you feel better, and also when you're eating fats, you're not as tempted to eat other foods. Fats are very filling, very satisfying to the body. So just a little bit of fat is a good idea. And if you're going to absorb vitamins A, D, E, and K, they are called fat-soluble vitamins. So you want to be able to have fat in your body so they can be dissolved into fat so you can absorb those fats. You absorb those nutrients. So fats can be good. So if you have a tablespoon of extra virgin organic coconut oil a day as part of your diet, you could use a salad dressing. That would be great. Now, you can also use coconut oil externally. If you have scar tissues, you have skin rashes, you can rub it on the skin or just put it on the skin. It makes the skin very soft. Now, as we get older, when it comes to romance, I'll try to keep it clean. It's a family show. We may not have the same lubrication that we had when we were younger, especially for women here. And so coconut oil is an excellent adjunct to that, extra virgin organic coconut oil, because a lot of the lubricants that they sell commercially for that situation have chemicals in them that can alter your estrogen levels and alter your hormone levels. And so coconut oil solves all those problems. safe, it's effective, you can ingest it, it's not a problem, and it doesn't have those toxic chemicals that can alter your hormone levels. So many, whenever I say this, women will send me emails and say, I've been using those commercial lubricants for years, and they looked at the ingredients, and sure enough, many of those chemicals that they have in there are endocrine disruptors. They mess with your hormones. Isn't that a kick in the head? So coconut oil solves that problem. And it's a lot cheaper, too. But you can rub it on your skin if you want to. Now, omega-3 fatty acids, as we're talking about acids and fats, are actually good for your brain. Now, there's 3 types of omega-3s. There's ALA, DHA, and EPA. Again, don't worry about the names. ALA is an omega-3 fatty acid that comes from plants like flax seeds, chia seeds, macadamia nuts, and even romaine lettuce has some omega-3 fatty acids in it. They have to be converted. ALA has to be converted into DHA and EPA. And in the process, if you're healthy, you can do that conversion. If you're not healthy, you're probably not going to do the conversion. But if you're eating a lot of plants, you probably are healthy, so you're in good shape. Now, there's 3 sources that people think about when it comes to omega-3 fatty acids. Number 1 is fish oil. Now, fish oil runs the risk of containing mercury. And the bigger the fish is, the longer it's been alive, the longer it has a chance to build up mercury. Because when you have toxic chemicals in your body, like heavy metals, they want to be stored. They get kind of taken out of circulation, and they can be stored in the fat cells. So that's one strike against fish oil. Number 2 is fish oil can go rancid very quickly. Number 3 is the fish oil. If the fish are not eating a natural diet, eating things like algae or they're eating krill, they don't have a lot of omega-3. So you say, well, Dr. Joe, I'm going to eat fish for my omega-3 source. And I'm going to eat farm-raised tilapia or anything farm-raised, really. Trout, doesn't matter, salmon. If it's farm-raised, they're eating corn and soy, which are higher in omega-6 fatty acids. If you listened earlier, I told you how bad they are. And so it can have up to 0, I know, omega-3 fatty acids. So farm-raised fish, totally useless. Let's assume you get a wild-caught salmon, which would have that in it because it's eating algae and things that eat algae, like krill. I don't know if it's salmon eat krill, but they're eating smaller down on the food chain. And that has omega-3s in it. Okay, I'm on board so far. Then you do something to that salmon, in most cases. You cook it. And when you cook it, the heat destroys a lot of the omega-3 fatty acids. So even if the salmon had omega-3 in it to begin with, you cooked off a lot of them. Now, I don't recommend eating raw fish because of getting, parasites and toxicity from it. And then cooking it destroys the omega-3s. So fish, not a good choice. Krill oil, much better choice. Krill oil, easy to absorb. It has something called astaxanthin in it, which is 500 times more effective than vitamin E as an antioxidant. It doesn't give you fish burps. The downside is it's a little more expensive. It's better than fish oil, so if you're going to do it, that's the best one. But that's not the best one. It's better than fish oil. Algae oil is the purest form of omega-3s. That's the one I take every single day. And by the way, you should too, because it's an essential fatty acid. You have to get it from an outside source. And algae oil is the purest form. That's the one I take every day. In fact, we have it on our website, drjoe.com. Sometimes when we get a rush on it, it's challenging to get. So hang on. It comes in every couple of weeks. We get a shipment in. So just hang on. If it's out, it'll come in soon. So algae oil going to be the purest form. You don't want to just eat more omega-3s. You want to cut back on the omega-6s. So cutting out the cottonseed oil, the corn oil, the soybean oil, the canola oil, cut those out. Make sure you're taking omega-3 fatty acids. If you're going to use an oil, avocado oil or coconut oil are the best oil to cook in. Now, you shouldn't be frying anything anyway, but if you're going to use a little bit to saute, those are the best ones. Olive oil is pretty good too. Those would probably be the only 3 I'd recommend. I mean, maybe macadamia nut oil, but those are rare and pretty expensive. So coconut oil, avocado oil, extra virgin organic olive oil. How do you know it's a good olive oil? I saw one study, was it 85% or 65 or 85, I can't remember which one it was, of the olive oil across the world is fake, or at least cut with other oils. Because, and one study I read, again, I can't document it, but there's not enough olive trees in the world to make all the olive oil that's on the shelves in the stores. It's impossible to have it. So companies will cut it with other oils and just say it's olive oil. They'll cut it with soybean oil, cut it with cottonseed oil, whatever it is. So here's what you have to do. You're going to take your olive oil that you just purchased, extra virgin organic only. You're going to put it in the refrigerator. Come back the next day, and if it's cloudy, it's a good olive oil. If it's not cloudy, bring it back to the store and get your money back because you just got ripped off. Now, the store doesn't know. Grocery stores are just middlemen. They don't know what the manufacturer says it's olive oil. They believe it's olive oil. So just bring it back to the store, get your money back, and find one that is a good olive oil. So eating organic oils are much better for you. The hydrogenated oils, stay away from them. Absolutely, positively terrible. Now, fat-free diets were popular for a while. They're not as popular as they used to be, and there's a reason for that. You need fat in your diet. Small amounts, but you need fat. And oftentimes in the fat-free diets, what do? We substitute sugar to give the product flavor. And earlier on, we talked about how dangerous sugar is to the brain, the inflammation. It can increase anxiety, depression, increase your risk of diabetes, heart disease, cancer. The only good side about sugar is that it tastes good. And high fructose corn syrup tastes just like sugar, is cheaper than sugar, and is sweeter than sugar. That's why high fructose corn syrup came around. In fact, there was a battle between two major soda companies, and I won't say their names. And they were trying to find ways to cut costs. And somebody came up with this high fructose corn syrup. And the owner, the CEO of the company said, no, there's nothing as good as sugar. We're not going to change the formula ever, ever, ever under any circumstances. So they did a taste test. They gave him one soda made with high fructose corn syrup, one made with sugar. Said, which one is the high fructose corn syrup? And the guy said, this one. He tasted it. And the one he pointed to was the one sugar. So high fructose corn syrup tasted more like sugar than sugar, if that's such a thing. And that was that day when soda companies said, we're going to switch to high fructose corn syrup. It's cheaper and sweeter. So stay away from it. It's very, very bad for you. And I don't know how else to say that. Just don't do it. So what happens is when you're hungry, you're not hungry for food. You're hungry for nutrients. So when you give the body the nutrients that it needs, if you have a salad with every meal, you're going to eat a lot less food because your body's getting a lot of nutrients from that salad. And salad, again, doesn't have to just be boring lettuce. I used to date a girl one time. She used to call it honeymoon salad. And I said, what's a honeymoon salad? She said, lettuce alone. Get it? Lettuce alone. And the only thing I remember about her, actually. But the honeymoon salad, you can add things to it. You can add celery and parsley and cucumbers and tomatoes and olives and, whatever, sprouts, whatever you want to, and make the salad what you like. In fact, you don't even have to have lettuce at all. Ooh, how's that for a radical thought? But when you're having those sugar cravings, you want to give the body nutrients. So things like super greens and essential source is great. So here's my challenge for you. If you're having crazy sugar cravings, I want you to have a scoop of super greens, scoop of essential source, mix it up together and eat it. Wait 20 minutes. If you still have your sugar craving, eat the sugar. In most cases, the sugar craving goes away because your body says, ooh, I was just craving nutrients. And sugar is a quick, fun thing because it gets me high. It stimulates my nucleus accumbens, releases dopamine. I get stoned from it. I really like the sugar, but that's not really what I want. What I want and what I like are two different things. So your brain is a very fickle thing. So be careful with that. Now, we got to talk about, when we talk about Optimum health tips, is you got to get your digestive system working. So if you have digestive problems, and if you're over 40, chances are you do. If you're over 30, chances are you do. Acid reflux, heartburn, burping, gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation. Anybody got it? Raise your hands. Anybody not raising their hands? Lying. And so what we have to do is get we got to fix the digestive system. And one of the things that happens, I just talked about this with a patient this week, is that if you have acid reflux, you swallow food, it goes in your esophagus and goes in a hole in your diaphragm and then drops through that hole into your stomach. And that there's a sphincter, there's muscles that control that hole, that open and close, to let food in and supposedly stop it from coming back up. That sphincter is sensitive to something called stomach acid. So when you have the proper amount of stomach acid, you eat food, your stomach releases acid, it sends a message to that sphincter or that muscle and says, close down, don't let food reflux up into the throat. I want to digest that food and pass it on to the small intestine. That's normal and healthy. As you get older, your stomach acid levels drop. It's part of the aging process. As the stomach acid levels drop, you don't have enough acid to send a message to the sphincter to say close. So the sphincter can stay open. Sphincter stays open, food refluxes up into the throat, and you have acid reflux or burping or gas. My mother called them sour burps. And so we have to, and I just talked to my patient this week. She said, well, I thought when I had acid reflux, it was too much stomach acid. Ironically, it's too little stomach acid. And the treatment is we give you medication to neutralize your stomach acid so the burning goes away. Does it work? I hear it does. However, it doesn't fix the problem. It can actually make the problem worse. And so if we want to increase the stomach acid, we send that message to the sphincter to close the sphincter so the acid reflux goes away, and we have the problem many times fixed. Oftentimes, we also need to pull the stomach, physically adjust the stomach down away from the diaphragm so that that sphincter can close as well. So there's a two-prong approach that we take to acid reflux. Number one is pull the stomach away from the diaphragm. Number two is make sure you have enough acid so the sphincter can get the message and close. It's not hard to figure out once you know how to do it. You ever drive a stick shift? A lot of people don't even know what that is, the younger generation. My first car was a van, 64 Ford van, Econoline, 3-speed on the column, if you're old enough to remember what that is, and it was a stick shift, and so I had to work the clutch. And the first time I tried doing it, my father took me in the meadowlands of New Jersey, swamps of Jersey, as Bruce Springsteen called it, and he taught me how to drive the clutch. And it was a nightmare. My leg was so sore from pushing the clutch in and up and down and up and down. There's no way I was ever going to drive this thing and learn how to drive a clutch. Well, right outside the church where I used to go, St. Joe's Church in East Rutherford, New Jersey, there was a huge hill. And I remember you had to go up the hill to get home. And I remember the first time in my van, it's bolden in my brain, and I went to the stop and the red light turned red. I was scared to death. This is a steep hill. I was going to roll backwards, kill people and myself, and roll eventually into the Hudson River. And I was scared to death. And I gave it the gas and let up on the clutch, and the car jerked, and I made it up the hill. I didn't think I'd ever be able to do it. But once I learned how to do it, then I became a truck driver later on. So I was driving, trucks. So when it comes to nutrition, many of you are thinking to yourself, there's no way I'm going to be able to learn all this. There's no way I'm going to be able to do all this. That's okay. I'm going to take you by the hand, like my father did, and I'm going to take you to the swamps of Jersey in a parking lot, some factory, and we're just going to slowly introduce these things a little bit at a time. The good news is you don't have to do them all. Do a little bit, try this, do a little bit, try this. All my shows are archived on my website and on my social media, Facebook and Instagram, so you can listen to a show, and people say, well, Dr. Joe, you talk too fast. I can't learn anything. Well, go back and listen to it again. I'm forcing you to take an action step. And once you listen to it a few times, you'll go, oh, now I get it. That really wasn't that hard. And so if you have acid reflux, let's increase your stomach acid. How about we do this? We start using apple cider vinegar on our salad every day. You're supposed to have a salad every day anyway. Use a little bit of apple cider vinegar, maybe a teaspoon, maybe a tablespoon. And that alone is going to help increase your stomach acid. You can take Dr. Joe's digestive enzymes. They're on the website, drjoe.com, in the store section. Digestive enzymes can help increase your stomach acid. You can come see us so we can take that stomach and pull it down away from the diaphragm, because you can't do that on your own, unfortunately. And now you start saying, wow, I'm digesting my food better. And I'm breaking down my proteins. And the proteins are broken down to amino acids. Proteins are made up of amino acids. And amino acids then become neurotransmitters in my brain, and my brain starts working better. And so my anxiety, my depression, ADD, ADHD, even suicidal, we've seen people come out of that by fixing their digestive system. So the number one reason we see patients is pain. Neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, sciatica. So if you have those conditions, you need to come see us, because we're really good at fixing them without drugs and surgery. Can't guarantee it, but we're pretty good at it in most cases. Number two, then we have to get in there and fix your digestive system. Make sure you're breaking down your food, absorbing your nutrients. And then number three, we got to make sure you're eating the right foods and taking the right supplements so that the body can heal. If you want to build a stool or a table, you have to have at least 3 legs to create stability. Those are the 3 legs: nervous system, digestive system, and diet. And when we start digesting our food, we break the proteins into amino acids. The amino acids become neurotransmitters in the brain. Then we get you on things like Dr. Joe's adrenal support, with like ashwagandha, which helps support the adrenal glands, helps support the brain, helps support the production of hormones, bring down inflammation. Super Green's an essential source, of course, the minimum supplements everybody should be taking. Omega-3 fatty acids for brain function, vitamin D for immunity, for support, for bone health. It's not hard, it's really inexpensive, and it's amazing, the results. However, there's not a lot of money in it. Anybody been to a hospital lately? Huge hospitals. They look like spas. And they're building these things like crazy. And then they get people to donate, which always makes me laugh because it's a for-profit organization. And then people are donating more money. And I'm thinking, but nobody's talking about the nervous system, digestive system, and diet. If we incorporate that in many cases, hopefully we can keep you out of those big fancy buildings. Not always, but many cases. So if you'd like to make an appointment to come see us, again, no promises, drjoe.com. Love to be your doctor. In the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. Normally, the first visit is $940. I've reduced that for my listeners to $299. Exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays, and a complete nutrition evaluation. Why not find out what's causing your health problems instead of just treating the symptoms? It's quick, it's easy, it's expensive. Why wouldn't you do it? I believe that this is where we should have our portal of entry for healthcare. If we can make this the portal of entry to healthcare, and I don't know if it'll ever happen because then you can't build these big fancy buildings. If we can do that, we're going to change the world. And that's why I sit here with you today, so that I can teach you the things so you can take control of your own health. Because I trust people. I trust my dentist. I trust my eye doctor. I trust my medical doctor. But I want to have control of most of my health issues. So drjoe.com, make an appointment. Stop suffering needlessly. I hate when people do that. So we're talking today about tips. I said the 7 tips for optimum health. I don't know how many I've covered, but we've got a bunch. We got to fix the digestive system so you can break the proteins into amino acids. The amino acids become neurotransmitters. We got to fix the gut. We got to fix the body, pinch nerves, for neck pain, back pain. And you got to make sure you're getting enough something called probiotics. Probiotics are good bacteria that live in your colon. And years ago, we ate a lot of raw food. We didn't scrub our food. It wasn't so sanitized. So we'd get good bacteria from our food. I remember being in my grandfather's garden and picking strawberries and eating tomatoes and eating peppers right off the vine. I still do it at my house too. And you get probiotics. You get good bacteria that way. Now, you do run the risk of getting bad bacteria too. But if you have good bacteria, they can fight off the bad bacteria. So that's why in Essential Source, I added probiotics and prebiotics. Prebiotics feed the probiotics. So that's the food for them. So make sure you're getting the good bacteria in your colon. And you have to drink enough water, folks. If there's one thing that most of us are deficient in, it's water. So what I do in the morning, I wake up, I have 2 big glasses of water right away. Then I have a big cup of tea. So there's my 3 right there. But if you did, again, I say if you just did nothing else but Super Greens and Essential Source, nothing else but chiropractic care, nothing else but drinking water, each one of these little steps, you'd see some big changes. So my challenge to you is this today. Another challenge. I want you to have 2 big glasses of water when you wake up every morning. 8 ounces, 10 ounces, 12 ounces, big as you can handle. Watch how much more energy you have. Watch how in a couple of days you stop drinking less and less coffee. Eventually you cut it out probably. Watch how much better you feel. Watch how much more energy, your brain functions more efficiently. You're happier. You enjoy your job, your family, your work, your retirement, whatever it is. So many people wake up and just can't wait to go to bed. I feel miserable. I can't wait to go to bed tonight and just lay down. I want work to be over. I want my school to be over. Water alone is going to change so many different things. And what will happen is you start digesting your food more efficiently. Your bowels start working more efficiently. You're detoxifying waste products. Your liver starts to break down waste products and passing them out. More nutrients are absorbed in the body. The brain is a lot of water. Brain's a lot of fat and water. You are a fathead, by the way, because you need fat in your body. And we start putting water into the brain. It increases circulation to the sex organs, the heart, the lungs, the liver, the spleen. So if I had to prescribe something that everybody can afford, is drink more water. Now, I have a whole house water filter, and I think you should too. But they're a little expensive. They're about $2,000, $3,000. I have a company that I use. If you email me, I'll tell you who they are. And I love when people come to my house and drink the water and say, this water tastes different. I'll say, no, it doesn't taste different. Oh, it does taste different. It tastes like nothing. It doesn't have the chlorine and the fluorine, which of course can affect the thyroid gland. The fluoride can affect the pineal gland, and it doesn't have the waste products. If you take a medication and you pee or poop it out, it goes into a water recycling plant. That water gets recycled and it goes into somebody else. We have filters for bacteria and viruses and germs. We don't have filters for medication. So just a thought. Anyway, folks, I'm just about out of time. If you have any questions, send it to me through the website, drjoe.com. I'm happy to answer your questions at drjoe.com. Follow me on social media at Dr. Joe Esposito. We post health tips every single day at Dr. Joe Esposito. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. You're going to love them. We go viral several times a week, actually, with our health tips. They're just awesome. So at Dr. Joe Esposito. If you're a podcast junkie, it's Dr. Joe for the health of it on your podcast service. Dr. Joe for the health of it. And we have health, not health of it. And we post at least 2 podcasts a week. So you're going to get a lot of information there too. So we have Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. We have your podcast service, the website, drjoe.com. Book an appointment, send me your questions, order the supplements. Folks, I want to be your doctor. I want to get you well, and I want to keep you well. I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. Catch you next time. All right. What do you have?
Can you speak a little about infertility, specifically in regards to fibroids and endometriosis?
Somebody just this morning, I won't say who, came to me, closed my office door, and said, I need to talk to you. I said, why? She goes, I never told you this, but I have fibroids. And the only thing that the doctor can do for it is a hysterectomy. So what we have to do is got to shrink the fibroids. And what's nice is the same advice I'd give you for heart disease and diabetes and cancer and brain function and weight loss is the same advice I'm going to give to you for fibroids. You got to cut out, in fibroid cases, all stimulants. That's coffee, tea, chocolate, caffeine, cigarettes, anything that's a stimulant, you have to cut it out because we know that feeds that growth. You also, want to cut out anything that has estrogen in it, animal estrogen. So that would be meat, butter, cheese, yogurt, eggs, ice cream, because the estrogen causes cell growth. That's what estrogen does. It causes growth. You also want to get chiropractic care because the nerves in the low back control the uterus and the sex organs, men and women, testicles, uterus, ovaries, whatever it is. And I've had many, many patients over the years have pinched nerves in the low back and not be able to conceive, men and women. And one lady I remember years ago when I first started in practice, her name was Mary. And she came to me and she was a Rubenesque woman. Rubenesque means she was a little portly. Rubens was an artist in the Renaissance, and he drew women, and he drew them large women. He drew large women. And so if you hear the word Rubenesque, it means a woman is portly. So she was a portly woman, so I knew she was estrogen dominant, too much estrogen, and that can affect the ability to get pregnant. So I started, and she came to see me, and she said, my husband doesn't want me here because he doesn't want to spend money on chiropractic care. He wants to spend money on in vitro fertilization. They had already dropped like $20,000, $30,000, didn't get any results. So I said, this is the nerve in the low back. It goes to the ovaries. Don't be surprised if you get pregnant. Well, a couple of months later, she comes in the office. She's sitting in my second adjusting room, and she had this big glow on her face. And I said, boy, you're so happy. What, are you pregnant? And she just looked at me with shock, and she said, how did you know? And I said, you just have a look about you. Okay, Tommy James and the Shondells, I think it was. A woman has a certain look. And she had that look. And she went back and busted her husband's chops, saying we spent all this money on fertility. It didn't work. All we had to do was get adjusted, and it did. And she crocheted a sweatshirt. I swear to God, this is true. And she wore it every day of her pregnancy. I said, Dr. Joe got me pregnant. And so I said, Mary. So anyway, it was a lot of fun. The kid's name was Crispin. I wonder whatever happened to them. I just remember it was such an impactful thing in my life. Anyway, yeah, we've had a lot of men and women be able to conceive when we get them off the caffeine, off the animal products, super green, essential source, nitric oxide to increase circulation, and then we open up the nerve supply. So yeah, come see us and let's see what we can do for you. Can't promise you, but we'll see. What else?
I use a hot tub twice daily for joint stiffness, about 30 minutes total. The water doesn't have chlorine, but I wonder if the other chemicals might be harmful to me.
Yes, they can be. So get a whole house water filter and then you'll be okay. And send me an email through the website, drjoe.com. Just say, who's your water filter company? I'll send it to you.
Is balsamic vinegar healthy for you?
No. Acetic acid vinegars, like red vinegars, they're not good. Apple cider vinegar is a much better choice. Now, all acetic acid has some benefits. It stabilizes blood sugar. It can stimulate acid production in the stomach. But if you use balsamic vinegar of Moderna, it says, and most of it is of Moderna, it's usually mixed with chemicals, so it's not good. If it's pure balsamic, it wouldn't say of Moderna from it. But no, I'd rather see you use apple cider vinegar if you can. Okay.
Can coffee affect the color of your ring finger?
It makes your body more acidic, so if it can interact with chemicals, so yeah, I say yes.
Are you familiar with ashwagandha products, and do you offer them?
Yes and yes. Dr. Joe's adrenal support. I have some here. Glutathione. You can't see off camera. Adrenal support right here. Okay, yeah. We have eleuthero, rhodiola, ashwagandha, and licorice root in our adrenal support. This is the one I take every day. You should too. So on the website, drjoe.com.
Can you mention the name of the water filter again?
Send me an email. I'd rather not put that. I don't want to promote a company on the air. So just send me an email. I'll send it to you. drjoe.com. A little bot pops up. Just send me a question. So
that is all.
Guys, you're awesome. I appreciate you so much. Please follow us on all platforms. That's my gift I'm asking for. I'm asking for a gift. I want you to go to all the platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and follow me at Dr. Joe Esposito. I'll give you all this information. I hope to do it for many, many years to come. I'm happy to answer your questions for you. In return, I'm asking you to just follow me. And if you don't like it, unfollow me. But follow me. All right, guys. See you Sunday night, 7 o'clock, WSB Radio. Thanks.